The other day, I was unfortunate enough to be scrolling through Twitter, probably on the shitter, got the explosive diarrhea from the Taco Bell lettuce. What are you gonna do? And as I was blowing up the bathroom, I came across a tweet from sports bet expert. I don't know if you guys have seen this guy before, but the tweet reads, Derek Dare Brown is no longer a part of this team. I went out on a limb to help this kid out. I picked him up when everyone told me what a bad attitude he had. I defended him till this very day. Unfortunately, I was wrong. He is a great player, but his mental and attitude is his downfall. Could be a top player in NA if he changes his attitude. Total head case. I wish him luck. I believe he's going to Voca. Enjoy. Now, a couple things here. This type of tweet is nothing new from Sports Bet Expert. We'll be getting into a lot of his tweets later on in this video. But basically, this guy has no filter. At least when it comes to his Counter-Strike team. And along with this, if you guys know Dare, we have talked about him in a previous video. I don't think this is really a surprise to anyone. Then again, I'm not, inside of the team. I don't know any of these guys personally. But from the things we've heard in the past, and people can change, it was a while ago. I'm not surprised that at least according to Sports Bet Expert, his attitude may have not been the best. But maybe the most interesting part of this is actually a tweet from MickGroom20 on Twitter, which said, Sports Bet Expert has 28 roster moves listed on HLTV and 61 maps played. They are averaging 2.1 maps per roster move. 2.1 maps a roster move. We're playing one BO3 series, not making it to map 3, and we're changing a player. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Prime Evil Geniuses was nowhere close to this. And I understand they're like a tier 3 team, making roster moves aren't as insane. I think 2.1 maps per roster move averaged out is one of the craziest stats I have ever heard. And as I got to looking at this, I started licking my lips because I realized there was some content here, fellas. I have been hearing about Sports Bet Expert. I have been seeing tweets from the team's owner. It's been like a little chunk in the back of my brain that I've been thinking about. And I think it's finally time we flushed this entire story out and talked about probably at this moment the goofiest team in all of Counter-Strike. Hey cutie patootie, it's me, Garmour. Guys, if you would like to support me and what I do here, check out the long-term sponsor of the Garmour YouTube channel, SkinSwap. SkinSwap is the #1 place to trade your Rust or Counter-Strike skins for new ones where you can instantly upgrade your inventory. And if you use my code Garmour, you can get up to $50 on a free skin and a 3% lifetime selling bonus. And now you can also easily buy skins off the Chinese marketplace for cheaper prices than you ever could on the Western marketplaces. I truly think this is the best feature on any skin trading website, but if you are looking to sell, you can sell your skins for crypto, PayPal, Venmo, and a bunch of other withdrawal methods. Along with this, SkinSwap has a vault system now, which makes it the most rewarding skin trading website. And of course, don't forget the giveaways. And I think that's it. Thank you to them, thank you to you guys, and back to the video. Now, before we get into the Counter-Strike team, let me give you a little bit of background on the owner of this team. He goes by the name Pete187, and he created a website called thesportsbetexpert.com. This website, in their own words, describes themselves as a worldwide leader in sports consulting, a subscription service where they sell betting picks, built on the idea of helping regular sports bettors join the small percentage of people who actually profit sports betting. The company claims to have served tens of thousands of clients across dozens of countries and says it's been featured on outlets like Fox Affiliates, Yahoo Finance, and CBS News. Now, Pete187 describes himself as the #1 sports handicapper in the world, running a social brand that reaches well over 100 million people a month. And so it sounds like this guy is pretty successful in the sports betting industry. And to be fair, I mean, he does have multiple Instagram pages, all with a decent amount of followers. SBE Football has 107,000. The main Sports Bet Expert page has 67,000. And while I can't confirm if he was actually ever featured on the things that the website says they were, when you look at the subscription page of this guy's website, you can get daily picks for $25, weekly picks for $100, or monthly picks for $350. So when you look at how many overall followers he has on, websites like Instagram, the math works out fairly quickly. If he just has 1,000 of these followers subscribed to his monthly plan, that is $350,000 a month. And so it does make sense how, he would have money to start a Counter-Strike team. And now along with this, he also has been called out for maybe buying followers on things like Instagram.
Once again, I cannot confirm or deny if this is true. I personally have no idea.
So I guess we don't really know how many people are subscribed to this. But what I will say is, before you get upset that he's just scamming people, sports handicappers aren't necessarily all scams. Some who guarantee that you're gonna hit on every slip they post, stuff like that, those are scammers. But there actually is a small percentage of people who do make money from sports betting. And if Sports Bet Expert is doing things like arbitrage plus EV type bets, then I wouldn't necessarily say it's a scam, because this is something I actually looked into a couple of years ago before I started doing YouTube. It is a real thing. I'm not gonna go too overly in depth how arbitrage and plus expected value type bets work, but moral of the story is that this guy probably isn't a scammer. I'm sure he does make a little bit of money sports betting if he is doing the things I'm talking about, but I'm sure he's making a hell of a lot more money selling the picks on the website. That's how most cappers make their money. And so anyways, with the money he was making, he decided to enter Counter-Strike, trying to be the savior of North American CS. Was it because he really liked Counter-Strike and wanted to save North America, or he wanted a slice of sticker money and saw North America was a weak region? I guess we'll never know. I'm not gonna try to make a guess because he might truly have a passion for NA, but I'm sure sticker money wouldn't hurt. But with the recent sticker money news, it sounds like it wouldn't even be that much. But anyways, Mr. Pete decided to enter the NACS scene around August of 2025, and initially the lineup actually looked fairly promising. They finished first at ESEA Open Season 53, they finished first at ESEA Advanced Season 54, and then took second at ESL Challenger League Season 51. Good enough for a couple bands in prize money, but it's not like these are top tier events, right? And I mean, like, ESEA Open is ESEA Open, right? But like, maybe there were some young talents in this team. It's a bunch of people you've probably never heard of. The first iteration included Sergeant Hash, Bax, Trojan, Evan, and MD. But their first lineup on HLTV actually had some names that you would probably know in the tier 2 NA space. They still had Evan and Trojan, but then they also had OG Wizard, Freshie, and Rek. Rek, Freshie, and OG Wizard is a fairly exciting tier 2, tier 3 NA core. And when I first saw this roster, like, they were on my radar. If my goats can take second at ESL Challenger League Season 51 North America Cup number 2, god damn it, they might just be able to win the major. Sure, they lost in the final to Chicken Coop, but they placed higher than Mythic and Notorious with Austin CS. I mean, listen, bro, we just made the team and we're already finishing above Austin and Flom. I would say we are on the track to being the best team in the whole damn region. But unfortunately, while the team did start off slightly exciting, it went off the rails pretty fucking fast. Now the issues start to arise. Actually, directly after that final where they lose to Chicken Coop, the one we already talked about. They end up losing Nuke and Mirage 10-13 on both maps. And directly after this final occurs, the Sports Bet Expert Twitter account tweets out, "I just informed the team, everyone is cut. I will be continuing my journey in CS2 with a brand new roster for next season. I am so fucking over the unseriousness from this team. I'm a winner. I win at everything I do. Getting paid to play CS is a privilege that these players abused." What losing a Chicken Coop does to a motherfucker, man. Hey, I get it, honestly. This move blindsided the players on the team. One of the players, OG Wizard, told reporters that him and his now former teammates were still figuring out if they'd stick together for some other team. Now, as you would expect, people were a little caught off guard by this brand new team who had showed, decent promise, getting completely axed and the owner kind of dogging on his players on Twitter. But he doubled down. He didn't give a fuck. He responded to a comment calling him out, saying, "Shut up, fool. You have zero clue what goes on behind the scenes." Someone else asked, "Is this a real post from the owner or hacked? If real, based AF." I don't know if I'd call it based, but he responds saying, "Yup, it's nice being the boss. You can do what you want." We put an angry 8-year-old in a position of power. This is gonna be a nightmare. So after this, the team was chopped for a little bit. Steel was on the roster. Shane from Voca joined. Fruit Cup joined. But eventually, the complete rebuild was finished. Yes, the rebuild took around 5 months. I don't think anyone really knew what the fuck was going on for those full 5 months. But hey, we got a Steel appearance, so how mad can we really be? And so Sports Bet Expert would unveil their new roster. It included SML from the old lineup. I guess he was the only one not abusing, having a contract. Wolfie, Modem, and Dare. This was supposed to be the new era of SBE team. This would be the the lineup they took over North America with. You know, there were some interesting names. Modem had a ton of experience. Wolfie had been a fine opper in Tier 2 North America for a while. Peeping had showed promise. And, well, Dare. And well, it seemed like Mr. Pete 187 was very, very happy with his new team.
I told y'all we were coming. Well, we're here now, and this is only the beginning.
Saying publicly that this team had the juice to make a run for the major. This lineup lasted less than 2 weeks before it started falling apart. Wolfie left to join a project over in Europe, and SML, while technically not being cut, went on the bench to take an extended trip back to his home country of Portugal. And this new rebuilt roster hadn't even played a single official match yet. They were already crumbling. And from this point, the team just continued to crumble. Modem would leave in early June. He would be replaced by Infinite, who'd transferred over from Voca. Consti came over from Lag around the same time. Shane came back into the team for a bit. And at this point, it's just a roster that just can't field a full 5. At least not a full 5 that sticks around. It's just roster move after roster move after roster move at this point. And this rebuilt team was supposed to be the one that stuck, but it just ended up being exactly like the months before it. The entire year of 2026 was just one big rebuild. Can you even call it a rebuild? It's just you pick names out of a hat and throw them onto the team, cut one a day later. It's a mess. And that pretty much leads us to today, where we get to the part where Dare also left the team, where Mr. Pete told reporters that Dare left on his own after getting into an argument with teammates, and that's where the tweet comes up where he calls him a total head case with a bad attitude. Of course, when Dare was asked about this, he pushed back and said he left to pursue a better opportunity and held no hard feelings for Pete or the team. But this Dare situation is pretty much what always happens. A player will leave, and the sportsbet expert Twitter account will then publicly drag them through the mud before the player really has a chance to say anything. Now, Dare leaving meant that sportsbet expert had to forfeit an entire day at the Esports Nations Cup because they just simply didn't have a roster to field, and well, they forfeited a lot of matches in their time because it just seems like they never have a real roster. But going back onto the sportsbet expert Twitter account, that's kind of where we get into the other half of this story. You see, while on one end, Sportsbet expert the team has been a complete mess with roster instability, on the other end, everyone hates them. And it really is mainly the fault of the owner. Because he goes on Twitter just to tweet bullshit. He goes on Twitter to pick fights and pretty much just tweet things when his team loses. He just tweets angrily pretty much all of the time. Back in September of 2025, Sportsbet expert lost to Lag. After they lost map 3-13-11, Mr. Pete was not very happy. I'm pretty sure after this initial Lag game, he just simply began to hate them. Because after losing to Lag once again in February of 2026, he tweets out, "Lag Gaming been the same mediocre team for how long? A lot of their guys talking shit. The funny thing is, my guys are still getting paid more than you. Congrats, you beat a dead team tonight. Guess what I do now? Rebuild and get better." Smiley emoji. You certainly try to rebuild, brother. He then gets ratioed brutally with a comment saying, "Bragging about spending more money while losing. Ha ha ha. Send me the Venmo link. I'll help you out." Anyways, you know, a lot of his tweets are stuff like this. It's either talking shit on players, other teams, talking shit to anyone, while also gloating about how much money he has. And so at this point, he comes across as an owner who claims to have the money to compete with M80 and NRG, while simultaneously signing people in their 30s, or really just anyone in the NA scene, and then losing to pretty much everyone. If you got the bread, make a good roster, brother. He also constantly tweets about how bad his team is after losses. It's like, brother, you made the sandwich. What do you mean Subway stinks? You made the sandwich. It's just like, man, I don't know. He's also like offered money to dox someone who has criticized him. "I'm giving a $500 reward if someone can prove to me who runs this account. Dude's got a big mouth and talks shit to me, my team, my company, and my wife. I want to put him in his place. Get me his name and picture. You don't fuck with me, lol. Trust me." And it's a random Twitter account with 6 followers. Come on, man. Like, we cannot have this much free time. We cannot be getting this angry. Should I be worried about me? Am I gonna get doxxed next? Should me and my girlfriend be scared this guy's gonna show up to our house? Hey, all I'm saying, bro, if you do not want to fuck with my Australian Shepherd, okay? He's a tough fella, let me tell you what. And like I said earlier, he also does beefs with other people in the community. One of the photographers for Fragadelphia, his name is Joseph Lima. He had literally all of his photography gear stolen out of his car, which is obviously obviously what he does for a living. This was like an incredibly sad situation. And so eventually a GoFundMe was started to help him out. Where as of right now, he has almost gotten the full 15,000 that he needs for his camera gear, which is great, right? This is a feel-good story now. Obviously, it sucks, but at least the community banded together to help this guy out. And well, Mr. Sports Bet Expert had to say something. He says, I was going to help this guy out, feel bad for him, but now seeing he blocked me and he works for Fragadelphia, hope he doesn't have say in decisions. He must not have liked my Trump tweets or my tweets that men shouldn't play in women's sports and esports. Now listen, bro, if you don't want to donate, don't donate, okay? No one is forcing you, but like coming out and tweeting this is it's so petty. It's embarrassing, really. This then trickled down, you know, and a beef started. He eventually says, I don't think I'm gonna send my teams anymore to Fragadelphia lands because the volunteers like Big Drewski in my DMs talking shit, disrespecting me and my organization. Very professional. Only one who has been completely professional is Bonamont. Thank you, Bonamont. Okay. You know, he then goes on to tweet about 8 more times about this. It's hilarious. People are talking shit. We are now at the point where this guy has fully isolated himself by talking shit on other people in the scene, talking shit on players who potentially would play for his team or have played for his team, talking shit on other teams. He basically hates on every other single person in the space, constantly says how he has all of this money, but then with all of this money, when he builds his fine, I guess, teams, he then says the teams are garbage, the teams are horrible. And so it's just a very, he's boxed himself in, man. Like, when this is what you do in this scene, nobody is going to like you. And unfortunately, as a team, you typically want fans, but I think that ship has probably sailed. You know, you also need players who want to play for your team. I don't know who is going to want to play for this team. I guess if they get enough bread. So, you know, man, it really might be the goofiest owner and the goofiest team in all of CS. Okay, listen, I know Mr. Sport Bet Expert, you are most likely going to see this video. You respond to Twitter accounts with 1 like, 3 followers, right? It doesn't seem like you can handle an ounce of criticism. So if you are going to watch any part of this video, watch this part of the video. Listen, despite all of the things you have said, personally, I don't hate you. I feel like hate's a very strong word. But what I will say is I am very disappointed because as someone who is investing in the NA scene, as a North American Counter-Strike fan, I respect you for that. It seems like you genuinely do want to make a competitive team, and that's a part of the reason why you get so angry. You want the team to succeed, and so far you really haven't been. So like, coming from a fan of North American Counter-Strike, like I said, I respect you trying to help out the scene, investing in the scene. I get all of that, but you know, as a human being, from one human being to another human being, you have to chill, okay? If you have all this bread, hire a social media manager. You need to stop tweeting, because here is the problem. You have completely isolated yourself to an extreme degree. You know, players, fans, organizations, teams, literally anyone in this scene is not going to like you. And you can't keep saying that you have all of this money, that these players and these teams are all so bad. You know, you can't come in here and try to big dog everyone when you haven't achieved anything in this scene. I understand being passionate, but nobody in this scene is going to respect you. Nobody gives a fuck how much money you have till you actually do something. You will not be respected till you build a competent roster that shows genuine promise. But at this point, with all the shit that you've done and said, I don't know even if you do build a competent roster that people will respect you at this point. But at the end of the day, listen, more teams in North America, the more investment into North America, the better. So despite all of this, I do want you to succeed, but you gotta chill, okay? Let the Counter-Strike do the talking for you. If you genuinely have the money, take some time to build a team that is genuinely exciting, that you really believe in. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We don't need to go to Twitter and shit talk, okay? Was there anything else I wanted to say? I guess it's this. Like, if you are watching, don't take this video as pure hate. Try and take it as constructive criticism. Because if you are actually going to succeed in the scene, you need to realize one thing. The players in your roster have changed, right? You've had a bunch of different stacks of players on your team. You know, the rosters have been as inconsistent as they can possibly be. The only consistent thing in your team is you. So I think if you really want to succeed in North America, you need to look inwards and realize it's probably not the player's fault. It's probably your fault. You're the only consistent factor of this team. So the reason that these rosters are failing, that you have roster instability, that all of these things are happening is not because your team is horrible. The players are horrible. It's because you're a bad owner. And so you should do some introspection on your character and look at other more successful teams, how they treat their players, how they treat other people, and learn from them. And then maybe finally your team will start to have a little bit of success. And I mean, if you can't do that, like you said, you have all this bread, hire a team manager and a social media manager and just take a back seat as the owner. I know your ego might be a little too big and you're gonna want to be very involved, but like I said, if you can't do genuine work on yourself, there's just no universe where this project is gonna work out for you. So anyways, at this point, the sports bet expert team is Infinite, Consti, Shane, and Peeping. They don't have a fifth, and at this point, I really don't know what the future holds for this team. Another thing too, like, I don't want you guys to go and send hate to this guy. That's not gonna solve literally any issue. It might just make things worse, to be honest. But even though I am rooting for you to succeed, I do unfortunately think that sports bet expert has one of the goofiest tenures in the entire game. And up to this point, Mr. Pete may be the goofiest owner that we have ever seen. And that's it for me today, fellas. Leaving a like if you liked, subscribing if you want to subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to be notified. And that's it for me, Squadron. I will see you guys next time.